Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm gonna tell the story about that time I went to Madrid to watch El Clasico, Real Madrid against Barcelona, and when Rodrigo came to visit me at my hotel. This year's El Clasico was gonna be played on the 1st of 2020. For those of you that don't know me, I've known Rodrigo ever since 2016 when I used to live in Santos, and I went to all the Santos under 20, under 17, under 15 games every Saturday morning. I woke up at 8 in the morning to go to the training center to watch all the youth games. And I used to be one of the only persons at these games. Sometimes it was like 2 or 3 people there, sometimes it was maybe 20. During my stay in Brazil, I got to know all these youth players, and eventually I became a friend of Rodrigo. So now I was gonna go to Madrid and meet him after all these years. The last time I met him was back in 2019 when I was back in Santos for a vacation. So I thought that it would be a good idea to visit both my family that lives in Spain and then go to the El Clasico game, which I have always dreamt about. I've gone to a lot of Real Madrid games in the past, also Barcelona games, but I've never been to that famous El Clasico that every football fan in the world dreams about going to. This was a great occasion to visit my family that lives in Guadalajara, just outside Alicante, and also go to the El Clasico game and try to get a meeting with my friend from when I lived in Brazil, Rodrigo, that now plays for Real Madrid. So I tried to plan early. I didn't have Rodrigo's Spanish number, so I didn't have a way to contact him. He follows me on Twitter, but he's never on there. So I contacted my friend Admir Conchino, who's a famous journalist that follows Santos. He was the journalist that really brought Rodrigo into the spotlight when he first broke through at Santos, so they are really close friends now. And he hooked me up with the number to his father. Then I asked his father Eric if it was possible to get a meeting with Rodrigo after the El Clasico. His father says, yeah, no problem, we're gonna sort that out, we're gonna have that meeting. Then I got the idea that I would buy a lot of typical Norwegian candy for Rodrigo as a present. And normally when I do something, I go all in, so it was a lot. It was actually 5 kilos of different candy, chips, stuff like that. So I arrive in Spain, I visit my family in Guadalajara, we're going to a party. And actually we end up partying until 6 in the morning, and I have to catch the train to Madrid at 12 from Alicante, and my cousin takes me there, and we just about make it, and I take the train to Madrid. So I arrive at the Atocha train station in Madrid, catch an Uber, I go to my hotel that's very close to Santiago Bernabeu, and just when I'm checking in, I look to the left and I see a familiar face, and it's my old friend João Diago. He's a Brazilian that lives in Holland. He works for Adidas, and he supplies all the Brazilian players with boots and stuff like that. And that was cool. He's a very nice guy. I go up to my room, get changed, put on some new clothes. I pack the bag with the candy and prepare that. It's 5 kilos, and I have to carry that around with me to the game, as I wouldn't have time to go back to the hotel after the game and pick it up. The plan was that I was gonna meet Rodrigo and his father just after the game. Rodrigo was suspended, so he wasn't going to play the game. So I was gonna meet them right after the game. I arrived at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. I had got my tickets through the Norwegian Real Madrid fan club, the Peña Madridista Noruega. So I met the other guys that had also gotten their tickets through the Norwegian fan club, and we were trying to find the pickup point where we're gonna collect the tickets, and we couldn't actually find it. So we were walking around the stadium a few times until we eventually found it, and then we just stayed at that Taco Bell that's right outside the Santiago Bernabeu. And then I remembered I need to get a permanent marker because I'm gonna get Rodrigo to sign some stuff that I had brought with me, and I had completely forgot to bring a permanent marker. And I'm walking around outside the Santiago Bernabeu stadium trying to find a permanent marker. It's impossible. There's a lot of these stands with people selling shirts, scarves, food and stuff like that, and I ask every single one, excuse me, do you have a permanent marker that I can buy? After I had visited like 10 of these stands, one of the sellers actually had a permanent marker, and I said, hey, I'll give you 10 euros for a permanent marker. And I said, no, sorry, I need it. And I'm getting desperate. The match is in 5 minutes, and I continue the hunt for the permanent marker. I end up asking like 20 or 25 sellers for a permanent marker, Eventually I find one and I said, hey, I'll give you 10 euros for it. I really need it. And he just says, yes, of course, 10 euros. Yeah, it's yours. So I get my marker, I go inside the stadium. I have this big bag full of candy and soda, and it's not allowed to bring in soda, so I had to open up the bottles. But I managed to actually smuggle in one soda for Rodrigo. So I'm there at the Santiago Bernabeu. It's 80,000 people there. It's the biggest game in all of football. It's a dream come true. And I have my flag with me, and I put my flag up in front of me, and I didn't actually have something to tie it up with, so I was just holding it the whole game. And every time someone was gonna pass, I had to stand up, collect the banner. It was this big deal. And by complete random chance, there were these two guys in front of me with Viking helmets, and they loved that I had a Norwegian flag, so they asked me to take a picture with them. I was watching this game with 3 other Norwegian Real Madrid fans. It was raining. Luckily, we had roof just above us. Real Madrid eventually ended up winning the game 2-0. I was thrilled, so happy that Real Madrid actually beat Barcelona. And I was watching Messi playing. It was a great match. Then I'm taking some pictures of me with my flag, with my Rodrygo shirt. And just as the match ends, I'm supposed to hurry out and meet Rodrigo's father, Eric, just outside the VIP entrance. I ran around the Santiago Bernabeu stadium. I arrive at the VIP entrance. Then these 2 police officers says that I can't stand there because they're trying to clear the street of fans because the players are going to exit in this street. I say that I have an appointment with the father of one of the players, and he says, okay, you can wait here. Then another cop arrives and he tells me that I have to wait further down the road. Then I try to explain to him that I have to wait here because I'm gonna enter the stadium in the VIP entrance, and he asks if I have credentials, which I don't have, so I have to walk further down the road. Then I wait there. Then there's a new cop that tells me that I have to go even further down the road. Then there's horse police telling me that I have to go to the end of the street, and at that point I'm so far from the stadium, it's raining, and there's nothing I can do. And then Rodrigo's father Eric calls me, and he says that he's outside the VIP area, and he asks where I am. And I explain to him that I'm at the end of the street, but the police won't let me enter. I'm talking to his father on the phone, and there's these other fans right next to me, and they're like, oh, he's talking to Rodrigo's father, and they're going ecstatic. And the police, they don't care. They're just, no, you have to stand here. And I said, okay, can I at least cross the road to go to the other side? Then his father will meet me there. And he said, no, you have to go around the stadium. And it's pouring down. And Rodrigo's father is actually walking down to the other side of the road, where he says that he will meet me. I have to run all the way around the roundabout, and it's very far. And I've actually never run that in my life. I'm running to catch him on time, so he doesn't have to stand in the rain for so long. I get to the other side of the street eventually, and I meet his father, and his father says to the police that I can go through with him, but the police said, no, you don't have credentials, you cannot pass here, no matter what he says. So we have to split up.
Putz, que triste. Tava aqui 20 minutos esperando, mas a polícia não deixa entrar porque os jogadores vão sair. Então, bloqueio a rua. Porra, tô aqui no estádio do Real Madrid, Santiago Bernabéu. E olha aqui, tá cheio aqui.
Eventually the road clears up and I go to the player exit and stand there with some other fans, watch the player leave. It's raining, it's pouring down. I stand there until 2 in the morning to watch players leave as I have nothing better to do. I get to know other fans, I get some new friends, we discuss football, stuff like that, very cool. Then I return to my hotel and I don't really know what to do. I speak with Rodrigo's father, we agree that we will try to get the meeting done the next day instead.
Day 2.
So I wake up the next morning, I check out from my hotel, I have no plans for the day. I have to catch the train back to Alicante at 9. So I go with my heavy bag, I just walk around Madrid. I go to the stadium, I do the stadium tour, I take some pictures. I'm actually in the locker room of the players. I'm standing in front of Rodrigo's locker and I hear some Brazilians. So I ask the Brazilians if they could take a picture of me with my flag in front of Rodrigo's locker. Here's a video of me walking from the locker room and onto the pitch, the same way the players go when they're gonna play the game. So after I took the tour, it's been a few hours, I have nothing to do. I end up just walking around Madrid for a few hours. It's very windy and cold and freezing. Eventually I found a nice sidewalk restaurant that had this room with a fireplace and stuff like that. So I sit down there to have a drink and just get time to pass.
2 hours later.
So I'm sitting in this sidewalk restaurant for a few hours. I'm trying to talk to Eric and he tells me that he will try to get the meeting done today. But what has happened is that Rodrigo, he has the day off and he has gone out with some friends and he doesn't have his phone on, so he's unreachable. So I end up talking with Eric and he says he's trying to reach Rodrigo but he's unable to. So at this point the meeting is up in the air. I don't know if it will happen. I have until 9 to get the meeting done because I have to be back for a family lunch at 1 the next morning and 9 is the last train to leave Madrid that day.
1 hour later.
A guy I know from Norway that's a Real Madrid fan, lived in Madrid at the time, his name is Martin. I tell him where I am and he comes to visit me and just keep company at the sidewalk restaurant, get time to pass.
6.5 hours later.
We just sit there talking, having a few iced teas, trying to get confirmation from Rodrigo's dad. But I'm a very respectful guy, so I don't like to annoy people. If I have asked a question, I'm not gonna ask 2 times. I'm just gonna wait until I get an answer. And Eric doesn't have an answer for me.
1 eternity later.
So time flies by and there's nothing. And it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, nothing.
8:01 p.m.
I have to leave the sidewalk restaurant at 9 as my train is at 9:30 from Atocha. It's like 15 minutes from there by taxi.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
So we're just sitting here at the sidewalk restaurant. Hours upon hours go by. We have no clue if we're gonna get the meeting or not. We get no word, and I'm so nervous that we can't find the time to make the meeting by 9. At least I'm not alone. It's very good company in Martin. I'm not bored anymore. We're talking, time flies. It's now 8:30, and he asked me, you have to leave in 30 minutes, what are you going to do? And I don't know. And time goes by. It's 15 minutes to 9. I still don't know. It's 9. It's 10 past 9. And I really have to get going. I still haven't gotten that confirmation from Eric. I don't know anything. But knowing myself, I've always been the type to risk it for the biscuit.
Eventually.
So what I end up doing is I decide to book the earliest train the next morning. It's at 7 in the morning because I remember I had to be back in Guatemala by 1 the next day for a family lunch, and I was supposed to go back to Norway the following day. So we go back to the hotel which I slept at the night before, the NH Paseo de la Cabana hotel. Eventually Martin pushes me to call Eric and ask if he has some news about Rodrigo, if we can get the meeting done or not. At this point I'm all in. I have already booked my train for the next day. Speak to Eric on the phone. He still haven't heard from Rodrigo. He's very sorry that he can't give me a straight answer because he really doesn't know. He says he will try his best to make the meeting go through, but he can't promise anything. So we go back to the hotel and I book a hotel room for one more night. And at this point we're hungry, so we order a pizza. It's around 10 o'clock.
20 minutes later.
Then around 10:20 I get a message from Eric and it says, what hotel are you staying at? We're going to visit you later. So we finished the pizza and we're waiting, and we're ecstatic that the wait and the gamble paid off.
A few moments later.
Then I get a new message from Eric around 11 and it says, hey, we are outside the hotel, come and meet us. And we go outside and we can't see them anywhere. And it says, I'm at the front of the hotel, where are you? And he says he's right there. And it turns out he had gone to the wrong NH hotel. So he's at this other hotel and I have to send my WhatsApp location, and he then sees that he's at the wrong hotel.
Later.
Then like 10 past 11, a big Audi arrives and I say to my friend Martin, that has to be them. And of course it is. Then Rodrigo and his father exits the car and greets me. My friend Martin stays in the background. Rodrigo has brought a friend with him as well. He's laid down in the backseat playing on his phone actually. So we're just standing there outside the hotel talking, catching up, just talking about nothing. Then I give him the bag with the candy. Then I crack a joke that, hey Rodrigo, you can't eat all that candy by yourself or you're gonna end up fat like me and you can't play for Real Madrid ever again. Rodrigo asks my friend if he would want a picture because he's standing in the background. Rodrigo's father asks me if we should go inside the hotel as it's so cold outside and we can go inside and sit down and have a chat. So we eventually go inside the hotel to a private, more quiet part of the lobby and we just sit down and have a chat. Then Rodrigo actually asked me if I have brought something for him to sign. And yes, now I have a marker as I told you before. Then Rodrigo signs my flag, this one. Then he signed the boots that I had brought with me.
André Noru.
And these are actual match-worn boots from Rodrigo that I has gotten before. His father sees that I have a Real Madrid shirt with me that has Rodrigo's 27 on the back, and he asks if we should sign that as well. And I'm kind of reluctant as it's for me to wear, but okay, when I'm first there, of course. Be my guest. If you want to sign it, just sign it, okay?
Valeu. Aê. Aê, muito obrigado.
Acho que sai aí.
Sai, acho que se secar.
Não, não sai não.
Se seca, não?
Não.
Já secou, não?
Aê.
And it's super nice. We're talking, we're chatting, they're signing the stuff, we're taking some selfies. And actually in one of the selfies I forgot to switch from recording to a picture, so I'm recording the selfie and Rodrigo says, oh, you're filming. But he's a very humble and nice guy. And eventually Eric actually invites me back to watch another game with them in the VIP area for a future match the next time I'm back in Madrid. And that's very kind, and I get so excited and happy that he actually invites me back to watch a game with him in the VIP area. That is crazy. Imagine being in the VIP area of Santiago Bernabeu watching Real Madrid play. That's a dream.
12 o'clock midnight.
Eventually they have to go back as it's now past midnight. It was a very cool experience. We got to catch up after 1 year without having met. The last time I met Rodrigo was back when we were still playing for Santos in 2019. His father actually asks me what's my address and if I can send him my address in WhatsApp because he were going to send me a signed shirt. He was supposed to bring it there. As it turns out, he had been out with a friend all day in Madrid exploring the city and his phone had been turned off. That was why we were unable to reach him the whole day. So he was supposed to bring me a shirt, but they weren't able to go home to get one before the meeting, as Rodrigo just arrived home and his father told me that they had to go and meet me. So he just turned around in the door and went to my hotel. I go back to my hotel room, I go to bed, and I'm ecstatic that they had actually taken the time to come and visit me at my hotel. I originally asked if I should go and meet them somewhere, but they actually came to visit me. That's very nice of them. I have just good words to say about Rodrigo and his father. Very good experience, very humble and nice guy, and I'm very grateful for them taking time out of their day to come and visit me even that late at night.
Day 3.
And I wake up very early in the morning because I have to catch the earliest train at 7 from the train station back to Alicante. Actually, I woke up way too early and I had a lot of time, so I'm very chill, just relaxing, checking out of the hotel, sitting in the lobby, just scrolling through my phone, and suddenly I'm in a rush. I forget about the time and I'm in a rush. And then I order an Uber and it's so delayed. I'm waiting, time flies, and I have to be at the train station in 20 minutes. Uber finally arrives and of course it's a traffic jam. And of course we're hitting every single red light in all of Madrid, and there's like 15 to 20 of them. And I'm so stressed. Oh my god, I have to catch this train or I'm not gonna make the lunch by 1. And the train tickets are actually kind of expensive as well. It's like 100 euros to go. It's not very fun to just book a later train, as I had already done the night in advance. And then I also had to book a new hotel room. As I said before, it's getting quite expensive at this point.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
We arrive at the train station. It's 7 minutes until the train is supposed to leave. And I just rush through the Atocha train station running, and I have to go through the security point. I have to find the right platform. I eventually reach the train and I just make it by like 2 minutes. It truly was a race against the clock. Arriving in Alicante, I have to walk from the train station to the bus station. It's like 1 kilometer or something. It's very, very hot this day and I have a lot of luggage. And I arrive at the bus station and guess what? There's no bus for 2 hours. So I'm stuck in the bus station waiting for 2 hours and I'm so stressed. At this time it's like 11 I think, and I have to be back in Guatemala for a family lunch at 1. Eventually I catch a bus, I go to Guatemala and I have to go through the whole city and walk for like 1 kilometer, and I'm so stressed rushing through the city. I arrive for the lunch like 1 hour late, but at least I make it. I have a good time with some of my family members, my cousin, my aunt. We talk about what has happened in Madrid when I met Rodrigo, the game, El Clasico, meeting all these nice people, talking with so many good guys, and it was really, really a trip that I will never ever forget. It was unreal.
The next day.
Go to the airport very early in the morning. I'm actually in the airport all alone. There's nobody in the airport. I see one guy cleaning. That's it. Just look at this video.
Har ikke sett et eneste menneske her. Sånn er det. Det er bare jeg som er til ute, tydeligvis. Det er jo ikke ett menneske på hele flyplassen. Ja, jeg tar søren. Sånn er det.
I get home to Norway, I think 2 days goes by, then the corona breaks out with full force in Europe. The week prior it had started in Italy, but Spain seemed very unaffected. Then 2 days pass and the news breaks out. All Norwegians that had been abroad in the past 2 weeks has to go in quarantine. So I have to go in quarantine, and it turns out all the Real Madrid players has to go in quarantine as well. It's with 2 days margin that the El Clasico match could have been cancelled, and I wouldn't have met Rodrigo, I wouldn't have seen El Clasico. And in retrospect, thinking about it, it's a miracle that I didn't catch the coronavirus at this game, as it was 80,000 people there. It was very crowded, we sat very tight, everyone, people passing me, people cough. It's a wonder how I didn't catch the coronavirus at this game actually, but I'm very happy that I didn't. So that was a very quick recap of about that time when Rodrigo came to visit me at my hotel. I really hope you have enjoyed this story, and if you're wondering why or how I became a Santos fan, I have made a very in-depth and long video on that subject. I will make sure to leave a link to that video in the description down below. Feel free to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below what did you think about this story. How can I improve in the future? What kind of content do you want to see on this channel? I really appreciate that you're watching this video. So thanks a lot for watching. Until the next video, Noruega out!